Ari Lewis Show.
Welcome, everybody, to the Ari Lewis Show here on Israel Sports and News Radio. Thank you for joining us. We have a great segment. If anyone at any time wants to email the program, they could do so at arilewishow@hotmail.com, or they can email the station at Israel Sports and News Radio at gmail.com. Of course, everyone wants to know what's going on in the world of Israel soccer. I want to discuss this. BBC World Service News correspondent and vice writer, back to the program, Raphael Gellar. Raphael, how you doing out there?
Hey, good, Ari. How you doing?
Hey, doing great. So we know that apparently Israel got a World Cup draw. Inform the audience a bit about some of those details.
Well, the World Cup's every 4 years, obviously, and we just had the 2014 World Cup in Brazil, and now we are getting ready for the 2018 World Cup, which will be in Russia. Now, obviously, in order to make the World Cup, you have to qualify for it, so the draw was held in Russia on Saturday night, and the games will start in September 2016. So we still have a while way to go, but Israel got drawn in a group with Macedonia, Liechtenstein, Albania, and Italy and Spain. So it's a very, very, very difficult group. Israel will not probably make the 2018 World Cup. And it's a good thing and a bad thing for Israeli football, but it'll be exciting to have Italy and Spain, both World Cup winners in the last decade, come to Haifa.
Right, and Haifa is, I guess, they have a great stadium for basketball, they have a great stadium for football, also on a soccer course. Do you think the audience will come out in droves, even though Israel most likely won't win the game?
Yeah, Italy and Spain are. The Italian national team is very popular in Israel, and the Spanish league is very popular in Israel. Barcelona and Real Madrid. So a lot of players in the Spanish national team are from those two teams. It will be completely sold out. The tickets will probably get sold very quickly, and it's a great, it's two world-class teams, not just one, two world-class teams. Italy won the World Cup in 2006. Spain won the World Cup in 2010 in South Africa, and also the Euro 2012. So we're talking about two of the top teams in history and tradition, and it'll be very exciting. Like I said, it's still very, very far away. We still have the Euro that you and I have been talking about on your shows for the last year. We still have the Euro coming up next summer that Israel is in the midst of attempting to qualify for. So that's after, the World Cup is after the Euro ends. And, so basically the Euro is the top priority now. It's nice to know who's in the draw, but still the goal is the Euro, and there's still some very important matches left in the European qualification that gets back relatively soon, in about a month in September, the first week of September.
Regarding the national team, do you expect any surprises to occur? We know Yossi Benayoun is up there in age, but do you expect anyone to drop out of the team or anyone to be added on the team that maybe the mainstream media isn't talking about?
Not really. I mean, there's some players who have done some nice things in Europe. There's some players who haven't gotten appearances on the national team that have a good chance. Munis Dabour is right now plays in Switzerland. He has not gotten an opportunity to play for the national team. He's a very, very good player. But 2018 World Cup qualifying, like I said, starts in 2016. So a lot of guys who are in between the ages of 19 and 21, guys who maybe play on the under 21 team, they have a chance to make the team. So if I look at the Israel U21 squad, a couple of guys I think that have a good shot to at least try and make the senior team would be Shoval Gozlan, 21-year-old striker, Omri Altman, who was signed by Fulham, a team in London, a couple of years ago. He's only 21. Ben Reichardt, who a lot of people, I'm sure, know right now in the media because there's a battle over what team he's going to play for. So there's some nice young talent coming through, but most of the guys that are on the team right now will be on that qualifications. Yossi Benayoun, will be very interesting to see what's going on with him, because right now he's technically not on the team. I have a feeling he'll be called up for the games in Wales, which is this September, as I said a couple of minutes ago. That's the next big match for Israel in Wales, unfortunately not in Israel. But most of the team is between the ages of 25, 28, 29. So a year and a couple of months, most of them should be on the team. There's a couple guys, I guess, that might not be, but for the most part, it's the same solid group of players. In that time, it'll be another full season. By next September, it'll be a full season's gone by. So some players might have breakout years and might get called. Some players abroad might move to bigger teams abroad. Some players abroad might come back to Israel. We don't know. A year in football is a very long time. It's not like in the NBA or in MLB where you sign these 7-year deals. Players come and go. So it's very interesting. It's very exciting. Like I said, Italy and Spain come into Israel in the same group. We've had, like this group, for example, we had Belgium come to Israel, and they're a top team, and Wales and Bosnia, who are also very, very good. But we're talking about two world powerhouses coming to Israel, and that's very exciting for the fans.
Now, a lot of times when a team doesn't accomplish a certain goal, you have a coach get fired, someone high up get fired. Because this would be such a difficult challenge to get out of this group with those two powerhouse teams, if Israel does not do that, will anyone be blamed, or will they get left off the hook, if you will, because it's such a difficult task?
Well, it's interesting you mentioned that, because honestly right now we're waiting to see what happens with this campaign, the 2016 European qualifier. Right now, Israel is, trying very, very hard to at least qualify for the playoff. To remind everyone, the top two teams advance automatically to the tournament, which is held in France, the European Championship, and the team that comes in third place goes to the playoff and plays another team from third place from another group, and the winner of that goes to the Euro. So we don't even know who's going to be the manager for the World Cup qualification. There's a good chance it won't be the manager now. The Israel Football Association, I think, will be willing to give the current coach, Eli Gutman, a chance if he can get Israel to at least the third place for the playoff. If he's not able to get Israel to the playoff and Israel finishes fourth in the European qualification, he will not be retained, and there'll be a new manager ahead of the World Cup qualification, and there won't be any pressure on that manager to make the World Cup, just to get to beat Macedonia and Liechtenstein and beat Albania, and then try his best to maybe get a tie in Israel against Italy or Spain. It's not possible to make the top two. It's going to be very, very difficult. I mean, Italy and Spain have all made it to every major tournament the last 20 years, so it's very unlikely that Israel will be able to do anything. Not even because Israel's not a top team, but just because Israel's not counting on themselves or counting on Italy and Spain to not play well, and that's very unlikely. But we first have to see what happens with the Euro. There's only a few games left. There's only 4 games left. The last game of this campaign's in October. We're already in August, so we're coming to the end. Israel has 4 massive games left. 2 of them are very winnable. They're very, very winnable. Israel's expected to win 1 game at home against Andorra, a country with less than 500,000 people. Another game against Cyprus, also at home, which is a very winnable game. And then the 2 hard games, very, very hard games. One in Cardiff in Wales on September 6th, and then one, I think, October 13th in Belgium in Brussels. So those are 2 hard games. Israel has to get points from those games. If they can't, they probably will not finish in the top 3.
Again, this is the Ari Lewis Show here at Israel Sports and News Radio. My guest is Raphael Gellar, BBC World Service News Correspondent and Vice President. We're talking about Israel soccer. Now, you were at a game in Haifa months ago that had not just a raucous crowd. There were very prominent people there, politicians, celebrities. Do you anticipate the same type of atmosphere in a couple of months from now in October?
Not really, because, well, it depends. But remember, as I said, the 2 teams coming to Israel are Andorra and Cyprus for this qualification for the 2016 Euro. So, those aren't the sexiest, most attractive teams. I do know that a lot of Israelis will be traveling to Wales. Wales is the game to win. Belgium will be very difficult. They're ranked in the top 5 in the world right now. not just in Europe, but in the world. Going to Brussels and getting points will be hard, but Wales is the game Israel has to at least get a point from. It's about a two-hour train ride from London, so that's, not a big deal. It's also not too far from Manchester and Liverpool. These are where the Jewish communities in England are. Also, I even saw the Jewish Federation of Wales is organizing a trip from the Cardiff shul, the Cardiff synagogue. So there'll be a lot of United Kingdom supporters who are Jewish that are supporting Israel, and there'll also be a lot of Israelis, because this is the biggest game. If Israel can come off with not a miraculous, but a very difficult 3 points, it has a very good chance to finish in the top 3 and maybe even in the top 2 if they win that game. Like I said, the only 2 home games left are Andorra and Cyprus. So I'm not sure, I'm sure the Israel Football Association will do everything to fill up the crowd and the stadium, but it's going to be hard to get 30,000 people against a team like Andorra, which Israel should easily beat. Half the players are semi-professional, and they've only won like one match in their whole history. So the biggest game is Wales, September 6th. I'll be there. I'm traveling to Wales. So if any of your listeners are curious, they can follow me on Twitter.
Wow.
It's a big match, very big match. I expect hundreds, maybe even 1,000 Israeli supporters. It's a big stadium. It's a big match for Wales, because if they beat us, then they have a chance to qualify for their first tournament since 1958, even longer than Israel hasn't been in a big tournament. So the Welsh people are very, very excited. I've been talking to a lot of them on social media, and I met a lot of them when they were here, and they're very, very excited for this September 6th match. I'm very excited. It's the biggest match of the campaign by far. It's win or go home. If they lose, it's basically over. And if they win, then you never know. They can make the top 3 and then have a chance to make it to their first ever European championship.
Now, of course, shadowing all of this, if you will, the deal with Iran, and whether we like it or not, soccer has a way of involving politics, and I want to know what your thoughts of Israel going on the road, if other countries will have extra anti-Israel hate, if you will, because a lot of people are in favor of the Iran deal and look at Israel as opposition. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu was not in favor of the Iran deal. I want to know how that's going to kind of mix into all these games.
Like I said, Andorra and Cyprus is at home, so we don't have to worry about that. Belgium has a very, long history of anti-Semitism. I'm sure there'll be lots of police. I'm not sure how many Israeli fans will go to that match. It depends on how they do against Wales, because if it's a meaningless match, no matter what happens, if Israel's already out, then Israeli fans won't go. But if Israel needs a point or a tie to advance to the Euro, you could have a lot of people come from the Jewish community in Brussels, and you could have a lot of Israelis. Wales, I'm not worried about at all. It's a very small country. They're not a big player. Well, it's not even its own sovereign country. It's part of the United Kingdom. So that's not a big concern. A lot of Welsh people came to Israel here during the match against Wales in April. They had a blast. They loved it. They loved the people. I spoke to many of them. They understand things are not what they appear. Obviously, they're sympathetic also with the Palestinians, but I don't expect anything too crazy. Maybe a couple protests. Wales, it won't be a big deal at all. Belgium could be something else, but there'll be a lot of security, and it depends. Really, really depends, Ari, on how they do against Wales in September, because if they come to that game with absolutely no meaning, and if they win or they lose, or nothing changes, they're still out of the tournament, there won't be any interest from the Israeli side or Jewish community. People will watch, obviously, on TV, but it'll be like garbage time in the NBA. And, no matter what, even if they won, it wouldn't matter, because they still won't be in the tournament. So, I'm not expecting anything. I'll be there, though, so if anything happens, I'll let you know.
All right. Now, give us a breakdown of that game. What do you expect are some of the keys to the game for Israel to be victorious?
Which one? Wales?
Yeah, against Wales, yes.
Wales, okay. Wales came here. I don't know if you remember, we talked about it on your show a few times, actually. in April. Israel really was expecting a good result, and then they lost 3-0. Wales right now is playing the best they have maybe in their history of them being part of FIFA. They're playing really well. They have a lot of big names. Gareth Bale, everyone knows, but they have a lot of other names that are maybe not as big in the world of football. But if you follow it closely, you know guys like Ashley Williams. The names go on and on. Aaron Ramsey, Joe Allen. They have a very, very strong team. And what's important to remember is even the guys you don't know, the big names, they play every week in the English Premier League or in the second division of England. So they play in the most competitive leagues in the world. And even if they're not superstar players, they're still playing against very strong competition. There's good news and bad news for this game. The good news is that for our European players abroad, which a lot of the national team is made up of them, they started their leagues already. The 2015-2016 has officially started in countries like Belgium, Slovenia. It's about to start in Scotland, which is where a lot of our players play. A big player of our players near Deton. Sorry, not a lot of players, but a big player. Switzerland already started, so a lot of those leagues start. So by the time September comes, there'll already be 6 weeks of those guys playing every week. The problem is that the Israel Premier League doesn't start till August 22nd. Now there's this thing called the Toto Cup, which is kind of like a preseason tournament that's starting this Saturday. And there's, of course, remember there's Israeli teams playing in Champions League qualifying and Europa League qualifying. But the actual season doesn't start till August 22nd. So that could be a little problem, though. The truth is a lot of the national team is made up of Maccabi Tel Aviv, and they're in the Champions League qualifying as we speak. In fact, they had a game last night. They'll have a game next week. And no matter what happens, they'll have another set of games, either in the next round in the Champions League or the final round in Europa League. So that's the good news. But the players will be fit. It won't be like it's the start of the season. Most of them will be playing for 5-6 weeks. The bad news is yesterday we found out Raphael, over 2 days ago, broke his leg. He's a very, very important part of the national team. Attacking midfielder was voted the top player in Belgium. That's a huge honor as an Israeli to be voted the best player in Belgium. Very, very good league. So it's going to be a big blow. He broke his leg. Some reports that he might be able to come back, if they speed up his physical therapy. Luckily, it's a very small fracture, and he's only out 4 to 6 weeks. The game is in 6 weeks, or really 5 weeks. So you never know. I mean, we've seen crazy things in sports, and doctors figure out ways to do things. But him being out is a big blow. Our goalkeeper right now was on a very bad Ashdod team. He just got moved to Belgium. He's in his first season abroad. It'll be interesting to see how he does. It's tough because they came to Israel and won 3-0, but I don't think that's the level of our national team, and they know that this is the game. I mean, they're expected to beat Andorra, they're expected to beat Cyprus, and they know it's going to be difficult to get any points in Brussels against Belgium, a top 5 team in the world. So this is it. This is what it comes down to. This is what you work hard for. This is what the campaign is about. All the times you travel, this is what it comes down to, and it's going to be a crazy environment in Wales, 30,000 plus. It's already sold out for the Welsh side. The Welsh fans are very excited because, like I said, it's an important game for them because if they win, they're in the European Championship, and there'll be a lot of celebrations in Cardiff. So it's a very important game for both teams. It's hard to say. I think we'd have to talk again before, a week or two before the game so I can give you an update on how our players are playing abroad. If our strikers, if our forwards are scoring goals, if our defense is doing okay. We have to see how our players do the next 6 weeks. I'm guessing around August 20-something, August 25th, the Israel national team coach will announce the squad who's invited to play, and we'll see who's on the list. But it should be, as they say, from Casablanca, the usual suspects. It should be the guys that were on every past team. The team that was just in Bosnia in June, the team that played Belgium, the team that played Wales and Israel. So no huge surprises in my opinion. But it's a huge game. I mean, it's really Israel has a really big chance if they can win this game to really show that they deserve to be in the tournament. And if they lose, then that's the problem. If they lose, then basically from now, from this September 2014 until at least September, or I guess October 2018, Israel won't be in a tournament. For sure. I mean, Israel hasn't been in a tournament for decades, but Israeli fans will know for a fact that Israel won't be in a tournament. Unless, Italy, I don't know. It's very, very, I'm always the biggest optimist when it comes to the national team. I believe in the team. But we're talking about Spain and Italy. I mean, it's not even in Israel's control. So Israel has to make this tournament for the fans, for the country, because we know that in the next qualification for the 2008 World Cup, finishing in third place would be considered an accomplishment. And obviously only the top two make it. So with that being said, it's go home or die. It's the biggest game in many years. This is it. I'm really hoping Israel can get a good result in Cardiff. I'm excited to be going. It's an interesting match also because the history between Israel and Wales. It's funny, the last time Wales made the World Cup, Ari, it was because of Israel. They beat Israel in 1958 in the World Cup playoff. So there's some very interesting, very interesting history between the teams. Fans in Wales remember it, the old timers in Israel remember it. So, we'll see what happens.
All right, so we'll have you on about a week or two before the game. Get your prediction then. We'll have a better idea of who's playing for Israel. And everyone can check out Raphael Gellar's work on Vice. And, of course, he's a BBC World Service News correspondent as well. Raphael, thank you for coming on the program, giving us a breakdown of the latest in the world of Israel soccer.
Sure thing. Anytime, Ari.
All right, and again, we'll have you on a couple weeks before the big game in Wales, one of the biggest games in Israel's history coming up just around the corner. So again, Raphael, thank you so much. Be well. Speak to you soon.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Thank you, man. Bye-bye.